Hey there, I'm Dave and this is Microbrand Watch. Now, I believe that some of the best watches in the world aren't made by the big brands that you see on the high street. They're made by smaller, more dynamic brands that you might never have heard of. So while everyone's talking about Rolex and Omega and Casio, Citizen, there's a quiet revolution happening. Small, passionate watchmakers are creating incredible timepieces that offer more value, more innovation, and more soul than anything coming out of those big Swiss or Japanese houses. And a lot of people have no idea that they even exist. So that's why I started this Microbrand Watch channel, to share the story of the microbrands. So what is a microbrand? Well, there's no official recognized definition. But here's mine. So for me, a microbrand is a small independent watchmaker producing a relatively small number of pieces per year. They're driven by passion and a love for design, craft and value. They're not just focusing on delivering profits for their shareholders. These aren't massive corporations, right, with 100-year-old legacies. They're very often just one person or a small team who fell in love with watches and decided to make their own. What makes them special? Well, first off, you can often actually talk to the person who designed your watch. Try calling Rolex and asking to speak to the CEO about the Submariner that you've just purchased. And let me know how you get on. Good luck with that one. Microbrands are also not bound by tradition though. While the big brands just keep rolling out the same designs they've made for years, microbrands are free to innovate, to experiment, to try things that quite simply would never make it past the corporate committee. So why should you care about microbrands? Well, because they're letting everybody get access to quality watchmaking. 20 years ago, if you wanted a quality automatic movement in a well-finished case, you were looking at thousands of dollars. Today, microbrands are delivering great quality for much less money. They figured out how to cut out the middleman, the massive marketing budgets, the retail markups, all of those things that just balloon the price of every single watch. But it's not just about the money. These brands are pushing boundaries as well. They're using materials and designs that big brands just won't touch because they're too risky. They're creating timepieces that would never see the light of day in a boardroom. They're also all telling their own story and making their own niche in this industry. And that really matters to me. When you buy a microbrand, you're not just buying a watch, right? You're supporting someone's dream. You're joining a small community. You're getting in on the ground floor of something really exciting and really special. And here's the best part. You get to discover them before anybody else does. Remember when you were a teenager and you found that new band that you loved and heard before anybody else even knew about them? Well, fast forward to today, and that's what you're getting with microbrand watches. While everyone else is on waiting lists for the same old boring watches that everyone else has got, you're wearing something unique. You're wearing something with a story, something that nobody else at the office has even heard of, and something that everyone will look at and go, wow, I like that. Tell me more. Walk into any watch store and watch most YouTube channels and you'll get the same thing. You get specifications, you get heritage, you get technical details like diameter, thickness, water resistance, power reserve. Look, they're all important, but what I'm looking for is for someone to say, here's why this watch caught my eye. Here's how this watch made me feel. And here's what it's like to actually live with this thing. And that's what I'm going to try and do on this channel. I'm approaching these watches like someone's seeing it for the first time, because that's what a lot of us are doing. You're not comparing the watch that you've got on your wrist to 50 other similar pieces that you've handled over the past 2 years. You're asking questions like, is this something that I want to wear? And honestly, sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes a watch looks great in the photos, but just doesn't translate to you wearing it on your wrist in person. But my promise to you guys is that every week I'm going to introduce you to a Microbrand watch that has interested me. In the early days, I'm going to look at watches that are already in my small collection. But rapidly, I'm going to come out to you, to the community, to ask you all to help me decide which watches to review, which watches you would like to see. I'll then wear them for real and tell you exactly what I think. Not what I think you want to hear, not what the brand wants me to say, but what I actually think. We're going to discover some incredible brands together. We're going to find some amazing value. We're going to support passionate watchmakers who are doing things differently and because they believe in it. And yes, we're probably going to find some crap watches and some crap brands along the way. But that's fine. That's all part of the journey. That's all part of this experience that we're going. But I guarantee you this, by the end of each of the videos that we put out, you'll understand exactly what you're getting, whether it's worth the money, and whether it's something that I'd actually want to wear, which hopefully then will help you decide if it's something that you'd like to wear. So if you're tired of the same old watch content, if you want to discover brands that are doing something different, if you believe that great watches don't have to cost a fortune or come with a famous name on the dial, then come on in, come and join us at Microbrand Watch. And if this all sounds good, of course, please do like the videos that we put out. Please do hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps me get a feel for whether this is what you all want to see. And of course, you'll be the first to be alerted about new videos as and when they get published. Look, we've got some great watches to explore and a world of discoveries ahead of us. And all of that kicks off next week with our first review. And trust me, it's a banger. You're going to want to see that one. Hopefully, it will be the first of many, many micro brands that you want to watch.